For the record, my name is Sharon Durkin, District 8 City Councilor, and I'm the chair of the Committee on Planning, Development, and Transportation. Today is September 17th, 2024. This hearing is being recorded. It is also being live streamed at boston.gov/city-council-TV and broadcast on Xfinity Channel 8, RCN Channel 82, FiOS Channel 964. Written comments may be sent to the committee email at ccc.plandev@boston.gov and will be made part of the record and available to all councilors. Public testimony will be taken at the end of this hearing. Individuals will be called in the order of which they've signed up and will have 2 minutes to testify. If you are interested in testifying in person, please add your name to the sign-up sheet near the entrance of the chamber. If you're looking to testify virtually, please email our Central Staff Liaison, Shane Pack, at shane.pac@boston.gov for the link, and your name will be added to the list. Today's hearing is on docket, and I'm going to read these, and I always have a lot of empathy for the clerk because he has to do this at our council meetings every time. So docket 1108, message and order authorizing the City of Boston to accept and expend the amount of $38,000 in the form of a grant for the MHC FY24 Survey and Planning Grant Phase 2, awarded by the Massachusetts Department of the Interior, passed through the Massachusetts Historic Commission to be administered by the Office of Historic Preservation. This grant will fund Phase 2 of the East Boston Survey update. The aim is for Phase 2 is to produce new and updated inventory forms for the properties in East Boston's Orient Heights area. So that'll be the first docket that we'll go over. I'm going to read through the rest of these right now so we know what this hearing is on, but we'll return to these other dockets after this presentation from Dorothy Clark and Taisha Rogers, who are here from for Environment Open Space Cabinet. So the other dockets that we'll be approaching today are dockets 0100, message and order authorizing the City of Boston to accept and expend a grant award in the amount not to exceed $2,562,297 from the Planning, Development Agency for the construction and management of transportation improvement projects. And docket 0101, message and order authorizing the City of Boston to accept and expend a grant from the Federal Highways Administration through the Massachusetts Department of Transportation, Highway Division of $7,501,200 to be administered by the Boston Transportation Department and the Public Works Department. The grant is a portion of the design cost for the Sullivan Square, Rutherford Avenue project. And docket 1105, message and order authorizing the City of Boston to accept and expend the amount of $25 million and any interest accrued thereon received from an annual $2,500,000 payments and held in interest-bearing escrow fund until designated for use for the city by the Sullivan Square Infrastructure Project. And docket 1169, message and order authorizing the City of Boston to accept and expend the amount of $539,260 in the form of a grant for the Mass EVIP charging stations awarded by the MA Executive Office of Energy and Environment Affairs to be administered by the Boston Transportation Department. This grant will fund 60 electric vehicle charging stations under the Massachusetts Electric Vehicle Incentive Program, charging program. Docket 1275, message and order for your approval. An order authorizing the City of Boston to accept and expend a grant from the Planning Development Agency in the amount of not to exceed $4,382,000. And sorry, these are all written out, so that's why they're so hard to read. The Victor Simpson parcel, 1501 Commonwealth Avenue, 1397 through 1305 Blue Hill Avenue, BIDMC in New Patient Building, and 1350 Boylston Street, 76 Stony Road, Seaport Northern Avenue Bridge, 745 Atlantic Avenue, 370 to 380 Harrison Avenue, Boston University Center Dental School, Boston Landing, 780 Morrissey Boulevard, 289 Walk Hill Street, Alston Yard Building A, 61 through 83 Braintree Street, and Belvedere Street Student Housing Project. And then the last docket, docket 1277, message and order authorizing the City of Boston to accept and expend the amount of $1,800,000 in the form of a grant for Reconnecting Communities pilot program awarded by the United States Department of Transportation. The grant will fund the assessment of the feasibility of reconnecting Chinatown neighborhood that was bisected by the construction of I-90. These matters were sponsored by Mayor Michelle Wu. Docket 0100 was referred to the committee on August 10, 2022. Docket 0101 were referred to the committee on September 28, 2022. Dockets 1105 and 1108 were referred to the committee on July 10, 2024. Docket 1169 was referred to the committee on August 7, 2024. And dockets 1275 and 1277 were referred to the committee on August 28, 2024. Thank you to my colleagues for attending this hearing on the various grants afforded to the City of Boston to fund infrastructure and redevelopment projects across the city. The first grant we'll be reviewing is from the U.S. Department of Interior, passed through the Massachusetts Historic Commission to fund Phase 2 of the East Boston Survey Update. The second grant we'll be reviewing is from the BPDA for transportation improvement projects. Our transportation infrastructure needs resources to keep up with the growth and needs of our city, and I'm looking forward to learning from our panelists on the status and types of projects that will be supported with this funding. The third grant is for the Federal Highways Administration through MassDOT to be administered by BTD and BPWD to fund design for Sullivan Square Rutherford Ave project. The fourth order is about funds from WIN via the surrounding community agreement related to the operation of Encore Casino. I'm looking forward to hearing more on the details of the Sullivan Square infrastructure project and how it'll support the needs of our city. The fifth order is the grant from the MA Executive Office of Energy and Environment for 60 EV charging stations. I'm looking forward to understand where these stations will be placed and how they will be maintained and the process for using to identify these locations and infrastructure. EV infrastructure is a fundamental necessity if we are to meet our needs and decarbonization goals. The sixth order is a grant from the BPDA for a multitude of projects. I'm heartened to hear that we'll be funding improvements to Boylston Street and the Fenway and looking to learn how these funds will be used for the projects outlined. The last grant is from the U.S. DOT to be administered by BTD to assess the reconnecting Chinatown that was split by the construction of I-90. Highway construction cutting through the city and many times have left scars in our urban fabric, so I'm looking forward to hearing how this grant will be used to assess the feasibility of reconnecting these communities. So now I'd like to introduce our panelists testifying on behalf of the administration. Dorothy Clark, Taisha Rogers, and Vineet Gupta. Dorothy Clark and Taisha Rogers are from the Environment, Energy, and Open Space Cabinet, and they'll be handling the first docket that I described, and Vineet Gupta will be speaking to the rest of these. I also want to introduce my colleagues in order of arrival: Councillor Ed Flynn, Councillor Murphy, and Councillor Fitzgerald. Thank you so much for being here. First, I want to let our panelists introduce the first docket, and I know I read through these pretty quickly, but docket 1108, and this is a grant for $38,000 to be awarded by the United States Department of the Interior, passed through the Massachusetts Historic Commission to be administered by the Office of Historic Preservation. But before we go there, do any of my colleagues have any opening statements? I'll take those in order of arrival. Councillor Ed Flynn, you have a minute.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you to the panel for being here, for the important work that you are doing in the city. I have had the opportunity to work with all three of you in the past, and you're outstanding, dedicated, and professional city employees. One issue that I want to highlight is reconnecting Chinatown and the South End. Obviously, that's the district I represent, but at one time they had this warm, close relationship, and because of the highway infrastructure, that really declined. But I think this project could kind of build on that long-time relationship, connecting our immigrant neighbors to immigrant neighbors. I think that's an important part of this grant as well. So I want to say thank you to the 3 outstanding city employees that are with us today. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Councilor Flynn. Councilor Murphy?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for being here. Looking forward to the conversation. Anytime we can talk about getting grants, money, extra money to make sure we're getting the work done, it's crucial. And when you see projects that will be transportation improvement projects, Sullivan Square, Rutherford Avenue, millions of dollars going there, which has been a real issue. I'll leave it at that in that area. So looking forward to that being addressed with these grants. Also the East Boston survey, and Councilor Flynn touched on it, but the long overdue reconnection of the Mass Pike, cutting right through Chinatown, is something I'm looking forward to, and know that that community deserves not just cutting the neighborhood off, but all the asthma and the health issues that have come along with I-90 being right there. And we were just a few days ago at the ribbon cutting at a beautiful new school right there, and we deserve to also, many parts I know in different neighborhoods outside of the city also have done wonderful, beautiful projects to build over highways to, like we've done right across the street here at the Emerald Necklace. So looking forward to this conversation, supporting these grants, and thank you for being here as always.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Fitzgerald?
Thank you, Chair. Happy to be here for the grants that are here for East Boston, Charlestown, infrastructure improvements, things that are very much needed. But I'd also like to call out the grants from the Boston Planning and Development Agency to going to neighborhoods all over the city. And I know that we have some money going to the safety improvements at Freeport Street and Morrissey Boulevard in my district. So we're very happy to see that, because it's sort of it's been a whirlwind there lately. And just a special shout out to Aaron Hallquist at the BPDA, who does all of these compliance issues, and he's been doing a great job of making sure that the money gets out into the community. And so his continued support there is appreciated. But thank you very much, and thank you to the panel for being here to answer questions today.
Thank you so much, Councilor Fitzgerald, and I have to second that. Aaron Hallquist is just such a treasure at the VPDA, and incredible that he's been doing such a great job managing so many of these projects and community, and had my own, run-ins with him. He's incredible, so that's awesome. So Dorothy Clark and Taisha Rogers, do you want to speak to 1108 and give us an idea first of what this grant will fund, and then I'll open it up to my colleagues for any questions.
Sure. Thank you. So this grant, thanks, is one of many that the office has received over the years. And it is a survey of the various sections of the city of Boston, the neighborhoods in those sections. So we've been in East Boston now, 2 years. So we're wrapping up the FY23 grant currently. And we were accepted or approved to receive the funding or the grant for FY24. We'll be focusing on Orient Heights. What we're doing is taking an accounting of the properties there, particularly the historic properties, so we'll know what we have. So this is an ongoing process. It's an ongoing thing where we're just documenting all of these properties. In case some are lost, we've got photographs and other information about them. In case someone wants to do further research on these areas, that is all documented there. And this has been taking place for decades now. So it's we've got lots of files on lots of properties, lots of what I would call now historic photographs, which can be incredible to look at. So.
Thank you so much. And can you just describe a little more how the city obtained this grant? Was this something that needed to be applied for?
Yes. The Massachusetts Historical Commission gets federal funding annually, which must be spent on a purpose such as this. But we do have to apply, and other communities do apply for it as well. So it is a type of thing where you might get it, you might not get it. But we've been successful in getting them. So we just put together all kinds of materials stating why we want to do that, why we want to go into a particular area that perhaps hasn't been documented, or we're updating areas that had been documented quite some time ago. So that's why it's like an ongoing thing. You know, maybe in the next 10, 12, 15 years, we'll be ready to redo East Boston. And it goes through every neighborhood in the city. So we applied to Mass Historical Commission. We submit people, consultants, experts, professionals who know how to survey a neighborhood. Physically, go up and down the streets and see what type of housing is there. We're talking about the architectural style of the houses and what is on record in a variety of state and city files. Property records, in some cases probate records, a host of things, so that we can create this picture of the neighborhood.
Thank you so much, and I just want to acknowledge that we've been joined by Councilor Ben Weber and Councilor Brian Worrell. Thank you for joining us. And I think I had a blind spot over here, so I'm not exactly sure when they joined, so thank you for joining today. I will open us up to my colleagues for questions, but thank you so much for applying for this grant. Sounds like that work is really important to make sure that we have access to resources to preserve our historic neighborhoods and those that haven't had chance to be deemed historic but need a survey. So thank you so much. I'll go to my colleagues in order of arrival. Councilor Murphy.
I'll assume the answer is yes, but are you working closely with the Charlestown Historical Society on this project? Because I know they do wonderful work there, yes.
Yes, not with this particular grant. Right now it's East Boston, but they're on the list. And if you think about it, there are a lot of places in Boston that we need to go through and look at very closely. Charlestown, we have talked with a lot, but having this kind of formal assessment, it's been a while. So Charlestown is definitely due for an updated neighborhood survey.
Okay, so you're focusing there with the just Orient Heights part of East Boston then?
Yes.
Phase two. Phase two.
Yes.
Well, like I said in my opening statement, very supportive and looking forward to what comes out of it so that we can get the work started. So thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Councilor Fitzgerald.
Chair, no further questions at this time. Thank you very much. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you so much, and I must acknowledge Councilor Coletta Zapata is on her honeymoon. I'm sure she would have loved to discuss this grant with you all, but I will go to Councilor Worrell next.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you to the administration for being here. Chair, are we talking about all of the grants?
We're talking about 1108, which is particularly about Orient Heights, East Boston. It's a grant from the Massachusetts Historical Commission.
Okay, yeah, no questions regarding document number 1108.
Thank you. Councilor Weber?
Yeah, thank you. Are all three panelists just talking about 1108? Or?
No, so Vineet Gupta is here for the other dockets
Okay.
that are next.
Okay, yeah, I hold my questions for later. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I am so excited about this grant, but hoping that we can get similar ones. And I don't know if there's already been a survey of the Bullfinch Triangle, but I'll talk about that offline. It's not germane to this grant, but I really appreciate your leadership. And I think I'm actually going on my own little walk of the Bullfinch Triangle with some neighbors and the historic community next weekend. So I'm doing my own little survey without as much information or expertise as the folks who will be doing this. But thank you. You guys are both relieved, and thank you so much for coming to do you have any last statements or anything to share?
No, except this is just vital to the city knowing itself and sharing its history, living its present, moving into the future, that everyone gets to know this.
Thank you, and I'd be remiss if I didn't mention we were at the State House today celebrating the 250th, the kickoff of the 250th of the American Revolution. So I know many of our districts have really important things that have happened there, and so we get to know our history through our built environment, but also through the stories and the narratives and the oral history that we still have. So thank you all for being part of that, and thank you for all your work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So next, Vineet Gupta will be taking on the rest of these dockets. So I will quickly, I think we're going to take them one by one. So we'll do what we just did with this one, but for each docket. But we have one panelist that'll be handling all of these. So I think the first docket, I think we took them out of order. So 1 second. The first docket is docket 0100, message and order authorizing the City of Boston to accept and expend a grant award not to exceed $2,562,000 from the Planning and Development Agency for the construction and management of transportation and improvement projects.
Thank you, Councillor, and thank you all the other councillors who are in attendance. I'm Vineet Gupta. I'm the Director of Policy and Planning at the Streets Cabinet. That's the Transportation and Public Works Departments. So this grant from what's now called the city's planning agency, at that time the BPDA, and I think it's the last on the docket as well, the last one on the docket, which is also a grant from the BPDA.
Okay, so why don't we take those together?
But very similar, actually.
Yeah, let's take those together. So
Yeah.
docket 0100 and then docket 1277.
Yeah. So, in brief, these are monies that have been given by developers of specific projects in neighborhoods all over the city. As
Oh, sorry, I need to correct that.
No worries.
It's docket 1105, or sorry, oops. It's docket 0100 and then docket 1275 for my council colleagues.
Right.
Go ahead, Vineet.
And the first one is about 2.5 million, and the second one is about 4.3 million.
Yes.
So, as I was explaining, these are payments made by developers of specific projects in neighborhoods throughout the city as part of their mitigation, and a lot of that is negotiated with the developer. A lot of it is received by the city as part of a formula when new developers propose their improvements. The monies are distributed to specific projects, and in those neighborhoods, typically on a project that's adjacent to the proposed development, and in some cases in the neighborhood. So I think, Councilor Durkin, you read out some of those projects. I don't know if I want to go into detail on each, but we do keep track of whether that money is actually being spent or not.
Thank you. That's really helpful. And I guess my core question, which you might have to defer to the planning department on, is whether you see the BPDA will continue to be the agency that receives money for mitigation and community benefits, on behalf of the city, and then this will be transferred through this committee. Is this the norm of what we see going to happen in the future, especially in terms of transportation improvements?
I can't actually answer that exactly, but it's something that we are discussing. I think the key here is that regardless of who's receiving the money, we want it to be done in an efficient way so that it can be used for the transportation improvement that it was promised for as quickly as possible, with the least amount of the money sitting in a bank and not being used. So we want to streamline the process, and I think that's one thing that the planning department and the streets cabinet will be focused on relative to transportation improvements.
And one thing that's particularly important to my district is a lot of times we are seeing the building being built, but the transportation improvements don't happen at exactly the same time, which makes sense because oftentimes these trucks and these machinery that are needed to build projects also crack roadways and create a lot of overuse on like asphalt and other materials. So, but obviously when community deals with a project being built, they're often really frustrated and not immediately seeing the improvements that come with that. So as much as we can, and it's been definitely a commitment to me as chair of this committee, is to move the money as we need it through this committee to make sure that those transportation improvements are going in line with the work, you know, that needs to be done. And but obviously for, you know, residents that need reprieve from construction and other, you know, when they're not seeing those benefits. So just curious your thoughts on that and how we can work to speed up the process of.
Yeah, no, thank you. That's exactly what I was, saying earlier. We need to streamline the process a little more than what we've been doing in the past. And I'm hopeful that, the two agencies, the planning department and the streets cabinet through the transportation department, can figure out how to do that a little more effectively. We have been using a lot of the money that's in this it's assigned. In some cases, we are ready to spend it. In terms of the timing, residents getting a little impatient. Some of these monies are only available at the time that the certificate of occupancy is issued. So there's a condition by the developer that they would not be writing the check till they've received a certificate of occupancy. And that typically happens after construction is finished and tenants or new owners are ready to move in.
And I know for some bigger projects, and I'll get to my council colleagues, but I know for some bigger projects, with institutions, we've been able to front load those community benefits in front of even the project's certificate of occupancy. For instance, like, hospitals and
Right.
other institutions and universities, a lot of which are located in my district. So I have seen there be a track record. I would just advocate for BTD to be a part of those conversations,
Absolutely.
trying to, ask for the money up front when possible, because it is so important that residents see those improvements in line with the woes and everything that comes with having to live through construction. Thank you so much, Vineet, and I'll open it up to my colleagues for 0100 and 0275, which are mitigation funds from development projects. I'll start with Councillor Murphy.
I have no questions. Thank you for all you do.
Thank you, Councillor.
Thanks, Councillor Murphy. Councillor Fitzgerald.
Yeah, Vinny, I don't know if you can get into this level of detail or not, but I'm looking at some of the ones for the future improvements. This from the BU Medical Center. They gave $60,000 through the BPDA for future improvements to the Albany Street corridor and the inclusion of a protected bike lane. On Albany Street, there's the Boston Community Pediatrics, and they have a lot of people. They have a lot of children, obviously, coming in there for service from all over. And they've been asking for a crosswalk on Albany.
Okay.
And I know that Chief Franklin Hodge is aware of this as well. And I believe it got rolled into a larger, it was supposed to happen this fall, but then they said, it's going to get rolled into a larger thing, which I think may be this. But is there any way we can try and get in the meantime, because Albany's being such a wide street, the parking is only on the other side of the street. So you typically, it's a mother with a sick kid trying to cross Albany. And as you know, once you get past the hospitals on Albany and you see that wide street in front of you, people hit the gas and
Yeah.
like, thank God I'm out of that stuff. And they just go. And so it's right where her pediatric center is. And so I know we've been trying to,
I will definitely follow this up, and we'll let you know. I'm taking notes.
yeah.
Frankly, I mean, if it's just a crosswalk, we don't need to wait for the 60,000. We can find another way to.
That was my hope. At least let's try and get a crosswalk in there before we have to wait for the more safety improvements, which we look forward to and thank you for as well.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate that, sir. And I should recognize that Councillor Fitzgerald in his previous role probably helped with some of these.
There are some of my old projects on this. It's kind of wild to see, you're right. But thank you, and thank you, Chair.
Thanks, Counselor. I don't know if you want to admit to which ones were yours, so I'll let you, I'll let you off the hook on that one. Counselor Rowell, you're next.
Thank you. Thank you, Vineet, for all that you do and always being so responsive. Blue Hill Ave and Wellington Hill Street, just so that we're, for me, that I could go back and share with, the civic groups and the neighborhoods and residents in that neighborhood. Can you provide, if you don't have the information now, if you can shoot it off in an email, just more details on what specific improvements will be made and how these changes will enhance pedestrian safety or slow down traffic flow in the area? And then also in terms of the $50,000 allocated for local neighborhood slow streets program at 289 Walk Hill Street. Can you just talk about what type of street common measures are being considered?
Okay. Again, I'll have to get you the specifics. I'm happy to respond to those. I'll just talk with the project managers and get exactly. But one thing I just want to point out, in terms of how we.
Can you bring the mic closer to your face?
I'm sorry. Yeah. So, in many instances, what we're doing here is we have all the mitigation money combined, right? In some instances, there might be a bigger project that's already in play in that particular intersection, or on that particular street, and rather than try to go through all the paperwork of that 50,000 and then try and apply it directly, we go ahead and on the front end spend the money anyways for the city's capital budget, and then just use this amount to reimburse later on.
Okay.
Because we just don't want to do these small projects, 50,000 here, 60,000 there. So in many instances, we just try to find a more efficient way to implement the precise improvement that was allocated to that particular dollar amount. And so I just wanted to say that to give you some context and how we do this, but for sure I can get you back on the details. So the Blue Hill Avenue intersection, it might have been, set back a little bit because of the bigger project that we're doing there, but I'll find that out.
Okay, thank you. No further questions.
Thank you so much, Counselor Rowell. Counselor Weber, you're next.
Yeah, thanks. Just a couple general questions, and you may have, in your discussion with the chair, gone over this, but just in general, if the developer does not come up with the money, how do we enforce this agreement?
Yeah, so typically these dollar amounts are part of they're part of the agreement that they have with what would then have been the BPDA. So there is a agreement that is signed with the developer that lists all the mitigations, and technically the ISD cannot issue a certificate of occupancy until all those conditions have been met. So there's some teeth in the. Similarly, the Transportation Department has what we call a Transportation Access Plan Agreement, which is a legal document that commits the developer to provide, or in some cases build and not directly build, the mitigation that is asked of them at a certain time during the permitting process.
Okay. And then the Office of Streets is involved in that
Right.
process of negotiating the mitigations? Okay. Okay, yeah, that helps.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
so there, I have it, within my team, there's a group that is focused on development review.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, I mean, on a much smaller scale, we have an issue in District 6 at 1400 Center Street where the building is constructed and the mitigations were not,
Yeah.
performed, and trying to work with the chief to figure out how to get those done. People could use a sidewalk at a major intersection, Weldon Center, and hope to get that done. But thank you, I appreciate this.
Sure.
Back to you, Chair.
Thank you so much, Counselor. And I think that really sort of closes on an important point, is all of these, the ones that I recognize in my district, and the other ones that were described with like Counselor Fitzgerald and some of the concerns from Counselor Weber are, and then piling on top of the concerns that I have, sometimes people aren't seeing sort of these roadways be done quick enough. One thing that I've experienced too is just the waiting for development to happen on a specific stretch of roadway in order for other things to happen. Like it'll often be like you're looking at a crumbling sidewalk and they're like, well, something will be built here soon. And I think on my end, it's so important that we be proactive and potentially have conversations with the owners of nearby buildings that maybe don't have plans about what is the plan for this few blocks of roadway, because particularly in Mission Hill, we have crumbling sidewalks and with no end in sight of, and with a lot of coordination needing to happen with the T and a lot of coordination needing to happen. And so, not to put this all on you, Vinny, but you carry so much, and we're really, your leadership at the city is so important over so many years. But I think we feel this deep urgency because we hear we're all district city councilors that are left here because we feel such urgency around our particular communities and what the streetscape looks like. So all of those things intertwined. It's just something that we need to have a conversation about too.
Thank you.
Hearing order for another day, but so we'll move on to the next docket, which is docket 0101, which is a message and order authorizing the City of Boston to accept and expend a grant from the Federal Highway Administration through the Massachusetts Department of Transportation, Highway Division, $7.5 million administered by the Boston Transportation Department. This is a grant for a portion of the design cost for Sullivan Square Rutherford Ave project. And then docket 1105, which is $25 million, and any interest accrued in interest-bearing escrow account until designated for use by the city for the Sullivan Square infrastructure project. So could you give us an update on that project and those two dockets?
Yes, thank you. And I don't know how familiar all the councilors are with Rutherford Avenue, but it goes from Sullivan Square in Charlestown down to City Square, and is currently in a state of disrepair, and has been identified for a complete reconstruction of the entire corridor. This is a project that is funded primarily through state funds. So the $7 million reference is to a grant from the Massachusetts Department of Transportation to take the project from concept design to final design. So it's about 7 to 8 million. And so currently the project stands at kind of a pre-concept design, and we'll be advancing it to a final design in the next, starting hopefully late this year, but definitely into next year and into 2026.
And I'm really happy that we've just been joined by Council President Ruth C. Louise Zhen, because before she joined, we didn't have anyone who represents Charlestown, so I think this is really, really important. But I've been following the design pieces of this in particular because there have been some other things proposed nearby that would have impacts on transportation and traffic and other things in the area. So not to talk about that today, but was watching that this project was more designed and went back to 25% design, given that there were some sort of changes or change of direction in the
Yes.
project.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little more to that, just to give everyone some context?
Sure. So this project has gone through several design changes over the last 10 years, 10, maybe more now, where at issue has been, if you drive on Rutherford Avenue, and there are two underpasses, one of them under Austin Street, where not Roxbury, but where the Charlestown Community College is, and then there's another underpass that is at Sullivan Square. The Sullivan Square underpass is actually closed right now because of it was just falling apart. And over the last 6-7 years, we found that it's been very difficult for the city to maintain those underpasses. And so older design that maintained the underpasses was put aside, and we started on a new design that would eliminate the underpasses, so everything would be on surface, and we wouldn't have this perennial problem of flooding, of kind of the underpass deteriorating over the years. It's very difficult to maintain. Bringing everything to the surface in this new design also creates a more community-friendly boulevard for the Charlestown neighborhood. As you can imagine, if you have an underpass, you need long ramps that go down, all of that, and it looks like a highway environment. And if you get everything to the surface, what you're really doing is you're creating, while it's still a major arterial, you're creating a more neighborhood-friendly street. So for those reasons, we are redoing the design and getting everything up back to surface.
And as the chair of Planning, Development, and Transportation, I tried to update and read a lot about this project. There was so much debate online about the direction to go, but so that's why I thought it was important to put on the record sort of the administration's position. Mm-hmm. So thank you so much for that, Vineet. I want to, for a second, give a chance for Council President Ruth C. Louisian. Did you have any questions on the prior dockets for Vineet? We've gone over We've gone over a couple of the dockets, including the BPDA dockets, which are 0100 and 0275. And then also now talking about Rutherford and Sullivan Square.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you to the administration. Thank you to Vineet for being here. Apologies for the tardiness. But did we already talk about the charging stations?
Not yet.
Okay, and I don't even really have a question about that. I just would love to know specifically where those are happening. We, as an at-large city councilor, I hear in enough neighborhoods people who want the charging stations, especially as we're trying to meet our climate goals. So I would love to sort of have that understanding of where it is, and just was grateful to hear about the project in Charlestown and Rutherford. I know that there are folks who will be very grateful. So thank you very much, and thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Since we haven't been that docket, I'm not asking you to answer the question about electric charging stations.
Yeah, we can come back to that one. So thank you so much, Council President. Any other questions? Councilor Fitzgerald? Oh, okay, Councilor Weber?
Just a comment. In Jamaica Plain, we dealt with KC Overpass, and I'm sure it was hotly debated before whether to remove the overpass and have street level intersection, and the decision was made to remove the overpass. I think it's a positive for the neighborhood to have an open space, and I think it's much safer, to navigate that from city streets. So, if you're looking for direction or help, I think you can point to Casey.
Yeah, I was involved with that project as well. In fact, both projects started at the same time, and the KC overpass was done earlier, but I've been involved with both, and it's the transformation in Jamaica Plain is amazing.
Okay, thanks.
Thank
Chair.
you, Counselor. And I did want to just say, representing Causeway Street, which I never got to witness it in its old form, but there have been so many transportation improvements in our city that we kind of take for granted. When I was in Chicago for the DNC, it was very interesting that just to see all their sublayers and the different ways in which and how unfriendly it is to pedestrians to have those different layers of walking and underground and above ground, and appreciate all the work that's already been done, but appreciate how difficult these decisions are and how difficult choosing a direction to go and trying to find consensus. So just because these are the biggest ones that are going through, could you just give us a little more of an idea of what the timeline will look like? Because I think it is important to get that on the record, and if there are any questions from colleagues that weren't able to attend today too, I'm happy to submit those.
Thank you. This is one of the biggest infrastructure projects that the city is involved with right now. So as I was mentioning, we are at what we call pre-concept design. So we have a layout of the streets and sidewalks. There's going to be a bus lane. There is a off-road bike lane and walking paths similar to the Southwest Corridor, all the way from City Square to Sullivan Square. So all of that is in pre-concept. Starting in this fall, we will take that, re-engage the community, and take that work to what we call 25% design.
So we're not yet at 25% design?
No.
Okay, thank you because I think I said we were at 25%, so you're working to 25%.
Yes, but we're very close to it. At 25%, all major decisions are taken, and it's no longer, yes, this is the general layout, it's 3 feet here, half a foot there, all of that has to be figured out at 25%. Once you're at 25%, it takes another year and a half to get to 100% for such a big project. So we're talking ongoing design work into 2026, if not beyond. The earliest construction would start is 2028. There may be phases that we can do earlier, because we're not going to do it all at once, right? It's a very long corridor. So there'll be some phasing involved. I don't know what that is. The engineers will decide that based on their evaluation and what the community thinks is the right direction to go.
And who are the stakeholders and community folks at the table? And who are the other stakeholders with MassDOT and all the other that are at the table?
So practically every state agency is involved with this, the T, MassDOT, the Gaming Commission. We are working, so we've held community meetings in the past with the Charlestown neighborhood at large, but we have also met particularly with the Charlestown Neighborhood Council. They're kind of a go-to group in the neighborhood.
Well, yeah, actually, because of the urban renewal zone, they're one of the only community groups created by an urban renewal zone.
Yeah, and they have like a election, etc. in the neighborhood. I don't know how often it is, but yeah. So and then there are immediate abutters that we obviously talk with, whether it's the community college, whether it's developers who have proposed new developments in parcels that are adjacent to the corridor. Then at Sullivan Square, the city of Everett is a very important player because we are reconstructing the Alfred Street Bridge, which connects Everett to Boston, and with the expected expansion of the casino and potentially a new stadium, that whole connection is really important. But as planners, we want to make sure that we've accommodated for those possibilities. Very close coordination with the city of Everett. Similarly, very close coordination with the city of Somerville, because they have projects on their side that feed into Sullivan Square. So all of that, and I forgot to mention, given these funds that we are receiving, we're going to hire a full-time planner who will be working on this project to manage all the complexities and work with all the stakeholders. That position's already posted. We've been receiving some resumes, and I'll be hiring somebody in the next month.
That's great to hear. Are there any questions from my colleagues on these dockets? Okay, seeing none, I guess we'll move on to the next one. Thank you so much, Vineet, for that detailed description. And I know, these larger projects are something that may, warrant further discussion at other hearings. And I appreciate your candor and all of that information. So we're going to move to docket 1169, message and order authorizing the City of Boston to accept and expend the amount of $539,000 in the form of a grant for the Mass EVIP charging stations awarded by the MA Executive Office of Energy and Environmental Affairs to be administered by the Boston Transportation Department. The grant will fund 60 electric vehicle charging stations under the Massachusetts Electrical Vehicle Incentive Program, Public Access Charging Program. Can you speak to this grant, and then Council President Louis-Jean, if you want to ask your question or?
Yes. So this is it's a state grant which is funding our first phase of the installation of EV chargers throughout the city. In anticipation of this grant, we've been actually out in the neighborhoods extensively. And for each of the proposed locations, we have met with local civic groups to kind of brief them on these installations and get their opinions. I have with me actually a list of which, if the councilor is interested, I can through email share of each and every location where these.
Perfect. Yeah, if you share with me too, I can share.
Yeah,
everyone. Yeah.
So happy to do that. As you mentioned, Councillor, they are all over the city. It's our first phase, and and I don't have the exact number, I should, but it's just escaping me. There are many chargers that are already installed in municipal lots. These chargers are a combination of municipal lots as well as on-street chargers. So let's say you live in a dwelling unit where there's no space, where you have no garage. To be able to charge your car, you should be able to go out onto the street and charge your car there.
Oh, sorry, Council President, you have the floor.
Thank you so much, Vineet, for that explanation, and I'm glad to hear that it's citywide. I'd still love to see the list to see.
I'll share that. Yeah.
So if through the chair, if you make that, I thank you, Vineet. A question for you about, so you said a lot of work has been done in anticipation of these electrical vehicle chargers, both in municipal lots and on the street. And I'd love it for the last, this is my second term, I feel like we've done a lot of work around electric vehicle charge. I've seen grants come through. Has that been primarily for the infrastructure, but not the chargers themselves? Prior iterations of grants that we have approved.
Yeah. So it's as usual, it's a little complicated. So
okay.
The infrastructure is actually built by the utility. So they have a separate state grant.
And who is it that's doing the infrastructure?
So.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's two other vendors. I know that.
Our person who's in charge of our EV program, he's out on a conference this week.
Okay.
Otherwise, he would have been here.
He would have been here. Okay, it's fine. It's all okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Council President. Councilor Weber.
Yeah, thank you. If I could also see where the charger's going to be located, that would be great.
I'll share the list with you,
Yeah.
Councilor Durkin, and then you
Them
can.
all in West JP.
Well, it's certainly an issue in Jamaica Plain where there are more apartment buildings and people buying or not buying electric cars because they feel like they won't be able to charge them. And so I guess we had a discussion about chargers being put in curbs in front of houses where
Yeah.
is that, are you This is not that, and how's that project going?
It's a combination. So there are some that are on a residential street, and then there are some that are in small business district. We have to, because it can take a little bit of time for your car to charge, we don't want to occupy a space in the middle of a small business district where the car is sitting there for so long and there's no turnover. So we've been very kind of careful about where we have curbside parking, curbside EV charging,
Okay.
given the impact on parking.
And then, so in terms of the location, is density going to play a role in where they're going, or are you just looking at every couple square miles?
Yeah, we have a little bit of rationale. We want to make sure that the chargers are distributed equally throughout our neighborhoods. In the final outcome is that we want every household in Boston to be within a 10 to 15 minute walk of a charging station. And remember that this is the first of our EV charging grants that we are getting. So it's a small amount, it's just 60 chargers. But we'll come to the city council with the next grant, that's $15 million that we've got from the federal government to transform or substantially expand the EV charging infrastructure in the city.
Okay, just two more quick questions. So
Yes.
when if we approve this, which I feel like that will happen, how long will it take to put in the charging stations?
We'll be starting this fall.
Okay. And when we're talking about charging stations, we're talking about the range of like fast charging?
Yes. Yeah, so there are a few fast charging, very few of the fast chargers. They require more coordination with the local utility, given the capacity of the grid, because they eat up a lot of power. And so we have to think through that, but it's an area we're definitely moving toward, because that's where the technology is going right now.
Okay, and then, so last question. If somebody, we've had these discussions kind of about speed humps. If somebody wants a charging station, can they participate in this process?
Yes.
Or
Yeah.
you want to hear from them? You want to hear from
Absolutely.
from me?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. We just want to make sure that there's some agreement within the community relative to where the charger is being installed, because there are situations where people are saying, well, you're taking up a parking space, and what does that mean?
Okay, yeah, thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much, Counselor, and I appreciate Vineet, you saying that, and there definitely are trade-offs in all of our communities around how we want to use curbside space and where is the best location and what buildings do the majority of owners that have EV cars, where do they live. One issue that's come up particularly in District 8 is the fact that often when these condo associations are going to get an EV charger, sometimes it's for one or two people who would like to purchase. They're often mandated to get commercial grade chargers, which one require more energy and two are just much more expensive. So oftentimes the condo association is sort of, not wanting to spend, tens of thousands of dollars on one condo owner who owns an EV charger or who owns an EV charging car. So I think it's really important that as we look into this, we're also making way for individual condo associations and buildings to be able to have ease of building their own infrastructure. So I don't know if BTD has any specific position on that.
So
but
there are two sides to that. One is what you're saying, which is that there's an existing condo building, owner decides to get an EV car, and then he asks the building owner to install a charger in their garage. And we don't have a specific program that would assist them in doing that, but I believe that there are state programs which would provide some assistance to the owner of the building to add that charger. So that's one side. The other side is new buildings. So anticipating this, and actually now it's more than 5 years, we require every new development that has a garage to to install EV chargers for 25% of all their parking spaces, and to provide wiring so that in the future, if more chargers have to be established or installed rather, that can be done in the coming years. This is something that most developers have embraced without complaining too much. Because,
Wow, that's something I didn't know that the
Yeah,
city was
so-
doing, and
yeah.
that's going to make a huge difference.
It is, but it's again, new buildings are only a small percentage of the total building stock, so it's only so much. But over the years, it will begin to have an impact.
Thank you so much for that, Vineet. And I just want to go back a little bit to the difference between like a individual charger and a commercial charger, because I do think that we do need to work on this issue. So if it's something that you can keep under your cap for the right
Sure.
moment, I would appreciate that.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, all the chargers that we are installing will be open to the public.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And we have one last docket, docket 1277, which is message and order authorizing the city of Boston to accept and expend $1,800,000 in the form of a grant for Reconnecting Communities pilot program awarded by the United States Department of Transportation. The grant will fund the assessment of feasibility of reconnecting the Chinatown neighborhood that was bisected by the construction of I-90. This is so important and so exciting. So can you give us a brief update on how the city's position, how excited we are that this is happening?
Yes. So this is the most exciting of all the projects that we've talked about. It is we've got federal funding with a city match to.
So the city is going to match this funding?
All the not 50%, but like I think it's 15% or 20% of the total amount that the federal government has given. That's a typical requirement of all federal grants. This would be a project where we would do two things. One, a planning study to see how we can cap the turnpike between Chinatown and the south end, just one parcel, and build a park,
Build
open space.
so a park, green space, open space. Yeah, and
So this is right in front of the new school.
yeah, I know exactly where you're talking about,
Yeah.
and it would be an incredible thing.
And then the second piece is that the first piece would include looking at what it will cost as well. So what kind of construction will be required. So that's one piece. The second piece is that as part of this, we'll be making improvements to exist to kind of the intersections in that area. And if you try to walk across from Chinatown into the south end over the turnpike, it's desolate. It's no trees. It's just the crossings are challenging for pedestrians, etc. So we'll be looking at doing some shorter-term improvements on the streetscape in that area, because building a deck and putting a park on it is not going to happen in a few years. It's going to take a lot of effort. And so we don't want to be in a situation where we just have a report that's sitting on a shelf. We want to be able to do some short-term improvements that would get some greenery at the very least in that section of Chinatown. This project is, we have a consultant team, we are waiting. We're actually waiting for the city council to sign this. The moment you sign it, we will start working.
Well, yeah, I'm hoping to move all of these dockets forward tomorrow at tomorrow's council hearing and pull these off of the green sheets. And hopefully I'll have the support of all my colleagues. So, but Councilor Weber, do you have any questions about this?
I mean, sure, it's outside my district, but I know there have been long-term discussions about how to bridge the gap over I-90, and I just structurally, like, how hard is it to put something over.
So, I mean, I'm not a structural engineer, but I can say that it's easier than what it used to be. There's technology now. There are communities all over the country who are doing this. And we're not putting up, a tall building on top of the turnpike. It's just a park. And so the weight loads are far less. They are substantial, the weight of soil adds up. But it's not as much as you would if you were putting a building on top. I think the complexities are you're going over a highway, you're going over Amtrak, you're going over commuter rail, and you're going over the Orange Line. That's where the complexity is, just to make sure, because all those have to continue to, we can't stop Amtrak because of the project.
And who would pay, do you think? Is this a state, city?
Eventually, it'll be the kind of funding that would have to come from state and federal sources. The city would not be funding, I don't even want to guess how much it would cost you.
Well, also, I know New York has the High Line, Providence has pedestrian bridges. If it's cheaper, there might be a way to, create like a pedestrian bridge with plantings.
Yeah, there may be, we shouldn't we're talking too much. We shouldn't get too bogged down by it has to be this there may be creative ways to do this with less money.
Yeah, no, well, thanks for, the legacy of Robert Moses or, New York and these highways that bisect cities. Wish we could go back in time and tell them not to do it, but thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Counselor. Yeah, I do wish all of us could be time travelers, but if I did time travel back, I'd have to say, there are some things I would say thank you to former city leadership of making decisions on, and I appreciate that at least over the last 10 plus years you've been here, Vineet, to be so how many years have you been at the city?
I like to say more than 10 years.
Yeah, no,
I've been with the transportation department for 20 plus.
Yeah, thank you so much for your leadership, and thank you for being a part of so many of these conversations. So on this grant, 1277, I am so excited. I think Chinatown being an environmental justice community that deals with the worst air pollution in the entire city, there's been many reports to that effect. This would make a huge difference, creating green space and creating, I always say like our parks are our lungs, and creating some more lungs over there would be incredible for the city. So thank you, Vineet, for bringing forward this, and we need to remain steadfast in pushing for these improvements and pushing for this federal funding, but that means we need leadership at the federal government that's going to continue to fund this, and but we're taking a step in the right direction with funding this grant, so excited to see it come before the committee and excited to move it tomorrow. I want to thank my colleagues for being here. We have gone through all of the grants that we were hoping to go through today. Is there any public testimony? Okay, so Vineet, you are relieved. Do you have any last things you want to mention?
No, I really appreciate the attention that the council has taken to move these grants quickly because we can now go ahead and make improvements that our residents will benefit from.
Thank you so much, Vineet. You are relieved. And since we have no public testimony, the hearing on dockets 0100, 0101, 1105, 1108, 1169, 1275, and 1277 is adjourned.